Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien on Thursday, June 15th, 2023. Sitting in for Paul Harvey this morning. Stand by for a special comment. Well, Mr. Harvey up there and the boss, I'm doing a special comment because I know you would want to do it if you were here for the American people. And I'm going to try to do it as close to you as possible. One, to pay homage to you, and two, to make sure that both of us on the same wavelength can get your American people's watermelons off their heads and they can finally hear you instead of listen and have cobwebs in their ears, okay? So here it goes. My fellow Americans, as Mr. Harvey would tell you, and he was a staunch American patriot. Other than belief in God, America was number one to his heart. I bet you Paul Harvey Jr. can come say yes to that. And if he was here today, he would be so disillusioned. So I'm going to do a comment just like he would have done it to you guys. So here's my best interpretation of Mr. Harvey doing a comment to you guys. My fellow Americans, this is your favorite alien speaking for Mr. Paul Harvey, and I hope he listens to me upstairs with the boss. If he was here, he would say something like, Americans, I am so ashamed and disappointed in you today that you didn't listen to my programs, especially Testing Time and A Letter from God, and all the other stories that I did on the way we got to where we were back in 1965 and where we are here almost 60 years later. America has become autocratic, extremist, and closed-minded. Even in the religions, heck, there's no more close-minded religion than Catholics. And I can tell you from being a kid in a Catholic country of Panama, Mr. Harvey, you grew up in the States, which, they have all kinds of people here, but mine is about 85, 88% Catholic. And I grew up Catholic. And for you Southern Baptists, the Catholics are the most close-minded institution I've ever known. And for you to try to emulate them the way you are today, that is a shame to not only the Baptist denomination, but God, and of course, the American ideal. Women have every right to be in all positions. They are your other gender. You only have two here. Okay? And things change from century to century to century and millennia. Millennia before Jesus Christ, or the idea of Jesus Christ, because there is no such thing as Jesus Christ, a real person. You can scream all at me and you say, oh, no, but you can't say it 100% because you know it's true. In this case, truth is there is no record of Jesus Christ. other than your religion. The Romans didn't leave one. And the Jews, well, you got some Jewish interpretation that other Jews don't understand. And today the Jews never recognized him. They never even admitted he existed. So you see, you got a problem. But the idea is what counts. The idea of Jesus Christ. And he was inclusive in women in his ministry. Okay? You can't deny that. You can't deny Mary Magdalene was a very powerful person in his ministry. Doesn't matter what she did, where she came from. In his ministry, she was powerful. The Catholic Church has been trying to destroy that for centuries. They never did accomplish it, did they? And then, after the Reformation, you guys tried to destroy it because you wanted to keep the Jesus Christ Catholic opinion of as just an individual all to himself who didn't need anybody else but himself. And you must realize that Jesus relied, when he was young, on his mom, and when he got older, on Mary Magdalene. Even your Gospels say that. And the ones that you threw away, but the Catholics threw away because they didn't want anything else to conflict with that. Making Mary Magdalene somebody high up in the Christian faith. They couldn't have that. So they took all those canons out of your Bible. They're still there. You can read them. Mary Magdalene was a very powerful lady. So you see, Baptists, especially Southern Baptists, excluding women from your top hierarchy is just alienating more of your dwindling congregation. Do you really want that? You should be in this time of age where you got extremism all over the place. Are you going to be part of the extremism too? And the autocracy, autocratic people? Because today, Vladimir Putin is more relevant than Joseph Biden. He is as irrelevant as Donald Trump. And that's saying that your American presidents are irrelevant, and they are. That's the way you made it to be. The Republican Party's extremist. The Democratic Party's extremist. You Southern Baptists are extremist. Whatever happened to, we have to include everybody? Will we agree 100%? No. But we have a lot more in common than differences. And we must have a consensus on how to make each other work right. Something that your society hasn't learned. Mine learned that millennia ago. And we had to learn that. And by the way, humanoids are not just male and female. In my groups and inquiries in space, I met a lot of humanoids that look like you, look like me, because we both are the same. We must have had the same ancestor somewhere along the line, but our society can't figure out who it was or whether we're related to you or not. But we look a lot like you. We have differences, different organs. Our heart's in a different place, like a Vulcan. But there's a lot of humanoids that don't have any gender. They don't have a Johnson, and they don't have the other thing for females. Heck, they can't, their way of excruciating their thing is only one way. That's all they got. To alleviate themselves of unwanted waste. We have two ways, liquid and solid. They only have one. And some don't have any. It gets reused in theirs, and those are the ones we call. Because not only don't they have any gender, they can't procreate. They're just a fluke of nature that comes around ever so often. So they can't even have their own society because they can't regenerate. But there's a lot of them. This one society has 2 million. That's pretty good for people that can't regenerate like that. And other people, there's a humanoid society on one of the planets that has both capabilities. So he has the capability of procreating inside and delivering the offspring. One parent, one offspring, no gender determinations on the outside, but he does have the facilities to procreate, but you can't classify them as male or female. And the way they look, their hair is the same thing, but they don't have the gender characteristics of either one. Because they don't have mammalian nipples or the shape of a woman. They just have a one shape. So see, how are you going to handle that if that was in your society? You can't exclude that too, Southern Baptists. You can't be extremists. You have to deal with what you got and go from there. Until you understand that, you're going nowhere. You're going to be like the Southern Baptists, who are, the congregation is dwindling, and they're furthering dwindling it by excluding women. Women make up the majority of your population in the States. More women are born than men these days. You have to understand that, whether you're a Baptist or whatever you are. You're in a situation where you haven't got integrated any of your issues. Your pigmentation issue is still there, no matter what pigmentation you are. Your religious issues, you haven't determined that. You haven't settled that at all. And you have to settle that sometime down the line, or you're going to cease to exist as a race. Your politics, you have to eliminate that, because you're going to cease to exist as your race, because it's killing you. Just as religion is killing you. Is there a supreme being? In my case, I don't know either way, so I can't say yes and I can't say no. But I do talk to him. I call him the boss. And other people that we inquire have their beliefs. Insectoids have their beliefs. And do we go over there and say, oh no, we don't like your beliefs, they're not ours, there's only one true God? No. It's theirs and theirs alone. They understand us, we understand them. And I can go and more or less shake hands with an insectoid, or an arboreal, or a reptilian, the same way I would with you. And an aquatic. You got aquatics here that have a higher brain function than you do. You don't try to communicate with them because you haven't established a translator between the two. And you can. Talk to a whale, talk to a dolphin, and they'll tell you how stupid you are. They've been here longer. They've seen things longer. But you don't understand that, humans. You're like the Americans. They're close-minded, extremist, and soon to be autocratic. And who do they have to be for ashamed at? Themselves. They brought it on themselves. People like Paul Harvey. And Mr. Harvey, if you're listening up there with the boss, I know I deviated from the way you would do it, but this is the way it is with the Americans. They just don't understand that they're losing everything that you fought hard for and their ancestors fought hard for. They're just throwing it up in the air and letting it go. Sitting in for Paul Harvey and the boss, this is your favorite alien saying, you guys brought the extinction and disintegration on yourselves. Good day.